Refreshing. Nothing yet. Oh, dude, no! You've gotta be joking!
This video is made only for entertainment and education.
Okay, so look, I've been testing different online side projects and experiments for a while, the ones that are often called make money online trends. But honestly, these are just claims from the internet. I'm not saying they actually work. I watched a ton of videos, read a bunch of articles, talked to people who actually try this stuff, and now I want to test some of the most interesting ones myself, live on camera. This is gonna be my personal experiment and honest observations. But how do you not just waste hours on garbage? How do you find what's actually worth your time without sitting through a million videos on the topic? I've been in the space for 7 years and I roughly know what can be out there. In this video, I pulled together everything that's genuinely worth looking at and I'm gonna test it on myself, live, right here. I'm planning to test where a huge amount of time goes with almost no noticeable result, which processes felt faster during testing, and which of them seemed the most interesting to me throughout the experiment. This video is made only for entertainment and education. Look, you've probably already seen similar videos, so instead of relying on theory, I decided to test different approaches myself and compare how they behave in practice. Important note, I'm not your financial advisor, I'm not guaranteeing or claiming anything. Alright, let's get into it. To keep things simple, I'm gonna split this experiment into 4 categories. Category 1. AI-assisted freelancing. One thing I noticed during testing is that AI tools are changing how people approach freelance work. Some users are using tools like ChatGPT for writing tasks, simple design work, and content-related projects, then offering those services on platforms like Fiverr and Upwork. It can be pretty much anything, but during testing, I was mostly looking at design and copywriting-related tasks. AI tools can speed up certain parts of that process significantly, although the quality still depends a lot on the execution and consistency. While browsing platforms like Fiverr, I noticed there's still a large amount of activity around these types of services. Some listings had surprisingly high pricing, although results in demand clearly vary depending on experience, quality, and competition. For example, during testing I noticed that AI tools can already handle certain parts of thumbnail creation surprisingly well, even without using more advanced software. Let me show you what I mean. I opened Fiverr and searched for YouTube thumbnails. You can see a lot of different freelancer profiles and styles here. What stood out to me is how heavily AI tools now seem to influence this type of work, especially for faster and simpler projects. Let me actually show you what I mean. I'll use this one as reference. Some of these listings were priced surprisingly high, which honestly caught my attention during testing. I wanted to see how modern AI tools would handle a similar style, so I opened one up and started experimenting with it myself. Okay, that actually looks pretty good. Let me save this. Now I'll go into Nano Banana and adjust my thumbnail to the right size. I already had everything prepared, so I uploaded the file, added the prompt, and waited a bit for the result. Honestly, what surprised me during testing was how quickly AI tools could produce something comparable to the work I was seeing on Fiverr. Platforms like Swagbox, Index Dollars, and JumpTask are built around reward-based systems tied to activities like surveys, video engagement, and other activities. Swagbox is one of the bigger services in the space. It combines surveys, cashback features, video engagement, and other activities inside one system. Instead of direct payments for every action, the platform uses a point-based structure that can be later exchanged for different digital rewards and gift cards. The platform also starts you off with a small number of points when creating an account. Okay, this section seems interesting. Some of these apps use game-style task systems with completing objectives. Okay, so this category was interesting to look into. There are platforms built around user feedback where companies collect reactions and observations from regular users interacting with websites, apps, or different types of content. Depending on the platform and the type of session, the outcomes can vary pretty significantly from task to task. I can't guarantee anything. A lot of this works through a referral system used by apps and online services trying to bring in more traffic. According to some creators in this space, this process is based on referral systems and promotional mechanics, but it requires a lot of traffic and constant effort. The real downside is that it eats up a ton of time and energy. I'm not claiming or guaranteeing anything here, just mentioning what's publicly discussed. Results vary wildly, and most people end up with very little. So look, all of these approaches clearly work differently, but after looking into them more closely, most of them still felt pretty limited in one way or another. But there's also a completely different category connected to crypto and digital ecosystems, where some platforms use promotional systems to attract new users and activity. Crypto and Web3 platforms often experiment with different onboarding systems, promotional mechanics, and user activity models compared to more traditional online services. For example, major crypto platforms like Bybit, KuCoin, and CoinEx regularly use different promotional mechanics and user acquisition campaigns. As always, I'm not guaranteeing or recommending anything. I'm only mentioning publicly visible information from the platforms themselves, and everything can change. There are also smaller game-based projects in this space, which are generally more understandable to me personally than large platforms. And when we're talking about promotional systems connected to new accounts, the outcome always depends on the platform, timing, and current conditions. Nothing is guaranteed. Sometimes something works out, sometimes it doesn't. And if not, then in my case, it usually just meant spending a bit of time testing it and moving on. Telegram-based projects absolutely exploded in popularity around 2024. Probably the most well-known example was Notcoin. It started as a simple Telegram-based project, later appeared on exchanges in 2024, and a lot of people online were actively discussing their experiences and screenshots connected to it at the time. But what's the situation now? The hype around most of these projects faded pretty fast, and a lot of them lost attention over time. Which honestly brings up the real question: how do you even filter through this space properly? I myself have looked through a lot already. Most of them honestly felt pointless, and some looked genuinely unclear. Only a small number seemed structured clearly enough for me to keep looking into them further. Over time, I ended up paying attention to a few specific things. First, whether the platform clearly explains how its onboarding or promotional systems actually work. Second, whether the conditions, timelines, and requirements are openly displayed instead of hidden. Third, whether there's an active community around the project with real discussions and ongoing activity. After going through a lot of stuff, one of the projects I decided to look into more closely was Mindstone. I had already tested it a few times on my channel before, so in this video, I wanted to do another observational test and see how the platform behaves in practice. Quick breakdown before I start. What is this thing actually? Mindstone is a Telegram-based platform with a specific interaction mechanic I wanted to observe. I'm not presenting this as a strategy or recommendation, just documenting my personal experience and how this system behaved during this test. There are different modes and settings that can affect the outcome, and results will vary from person to person. Nothing shown here should be treated as guaranteed or expected performance. For this video, I'm simply walking through what happened in my own session and showing the interface during the process. Okay, so I'll open up an AI tool and drop in this prompt. Now, one important thing to keep in mind: AI tools obviously have limits when it comes to how current their information is. Some of the publicly shared combinations or references floating around online are probably outdated already. That's why anything interesting I come across, I usually just say for myself. Alright, got something from the AI. Now I'll open Mindstone like this. Yeah, okay, good. And guys, just a reminder, I'm sharing this purely from an observational and entertainment perspective, not claiming or guaranteeing anything. I'm only showing what happened in my own case during this test. Alright, opening it up, going into this section and trying what the AI generated. Starting with the first one. Copy, paste. Nope, expired. Totally normal, I already expected some of them to be outdated. Let me check another one. Same thing. Okay, trying one more. Alright, looks like this one actually responded differently. Let me refresh the page. Okay, yeah, looks like there's actually something here now. Now I want to see what happens next. I want this to actually be mine, like I want to be able to use it wherever I want, not just on this platform. So, I'll go here and tap this, pick the values I need. Yep. Now I need to switch here. Let me open it up real quick. Yep. Alright. Copy and paste. Let's try. Okay, a notification popped up. Looks like something processed here. This section updated too. Let me check. Back here, refreshing. Nothing yet. Honestly, from my own experience, pretty normal. Not everything happens instantly, usually you gotta wait a bit. Refreshing again. Alright, trying one more. Okay, looks like after refreshing the page it finally showed something. In my case it kinda worked out this time. But don't get it twisted, I'm not guaranteeing anything. If you found this video interesting, feel free to leave a like. It genuinely helps support the channel and lets me keep making content like this. All the cool tricks, tests and other life stuff I'm leaving right here. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one.